Okay, so thank you for clicking on the video. We're starting with a quick explanation of my OC because I know most of you are very interested in the Alastor redesign. So my OC, she doesn't have a name. She's loosely based off of me, but she's not really supposed to be me because she has her own backstory. Sort of like if you think of the Spider-Verse, like, you know, two Spider-Men are not necessarily the same person. So that's how you can think of her. She's me, but she's not. She is a sinner demon, but she has a lot of succubus features, and the succubi are hellborn. She's a succubus dragon, to be exact. Without going too into it, because I'm still workshopping the backstory for her, she is on the ace spectrum, so she doesn't really like to be looked at, and she gets looked at a lot because of the succubus features, so that's kind of one of the, you know, hellish punishments that she gets from her demon form. But with her backstory, she worked at an antique market, and she had one sister, and her sister was very, very attractive and used to revel in it when they were younger, and my OC, she didn't like that, and it drove kind of a wedge between them. But when they got older, the sister started to get a lot of, like, really bad unwanted attention to the point of having a stalker. And essentially the way that my OC died was that she took the life of her sister's stalker in order to protect her, but also got badly injured in the encounter, and she passed from blood loss. And the reason she was able to get close enough to the guy to be able to take him out was using seduction, which, as an ace person, she would hate. And the reason why she's ace, because there are some parallels between her and Alastor, but that's actually a parallel between her and myself. I'm on the ace spectrum, and the red and black hair is also a parallel between her and myself, because I am 25 now, and since I was 14, I have dyed my hair the red with a small section of black combination that you can see on her. As well as her haircut is like a 1970s Farrah Fawcett shag cut, which is what I have, but if you've seen the videos where you can see my face, it doesn't exactly look like that because it isn't curled. Because I've just been, like, very, very tired making the amount of videos I have that, you know, curling my hair before each one. I just wasn't gonna do that. So anyway, so I wanted to play around with the idea that someone's demon form is not entirely a punishment. Because with this OC in her backstory, like, taking someone's life was like the one thing she did that got her here. And the idea is that she knew that she could have, because authorities were already called, she could have distracted the guy through seduction longer. She didn't need to actually take him out, but she decided that she wanted to do that. She wanted him gone for good, and so, you know, that's what landed her here. But because she was good most of her life, the succubus features, despite the fact that they get her some unwanted attention, they also protect her. When it comes to this OC, she appears in hell a few years before the events of Hazbin Hotel Season 1. So the exterminations are still going on. And because Hellborn are excused from the exterminations, and she has a lot of succubus features, the Exorcist angels essentially mistake her as a Hellborn succubus. Because, as we've seen in Hell of a Boss, there are Hellborn hybrid demons, so it's not out of question that she could just be mistaken as a Hellborn, half succubus, half something else. Now, her horns and her wings are that of a dragon. I'll get into her dragon powers a little bit later, but what you need to know with her main powers is that she has music-based powers. So basically, she is kind of like a speaker. You can see the music notes on her wings there. Her wings play music. She can do this voluntarily, but the way it usually works is that if a less powerful demon comes near her, it won't do anything, but if they physically touch her, the music that plays is indicative of either that demon's personality and or the era that they passed in. So if Angel Dust went near her and he was in a good mood, you would probably hear some jazzy 1940s music because that's when Angel was alive. And if he's in a bad mood because of Valentino, then you may hear adult movie music playing, for example. And if it's a powerful demon, all they have to do is be in proximity to her, so they don't even have to touch her. And this kind of causes a problem when she first arrives in hell because of the fact that, like, it's involuntary, she can't really control it, and her wings also, like, fan out to their full wingspan when it happens, which is also why, for the longest time, she refuses to try to fly, because she's just too worried about, like, what if another demon with the ability to fly comes near her while she's in the sky and she falls. So, that's a problem that kind of follows her for a while, but because she was, involved with antiques in her career and went as far as to learn how to fix things up, she goes to a junkyard in hell and puts together a few materials that make up her staff that she then uses as, like, the beacon to channel her powers. So her music comes out of the staff as long as she's physically touching it. It doesn't matter if she's holding it with her hands or holding it with her tail. I did decide that she does often hold things with her tail, so she can do that, but basically, whenever she's holding the staff, the music will come out of the staff. And her powers are also having to do with audio, as in, it doesn't have to be music necessarily. It can be other sound effects or frequencies that she can voluntarily play, as well as when she gets good at it, she can control the volume. And because she used to fix up old things, and also things having to do with music when she was alive, she can also repair any device as long as it's something that has to do with audio. So she could snap her fingers and fix a hell phone for someone because a hell phone does possess the qualities to play music and stuff like that. So those are her basic sets of powers. Now, I did make her powers green because her eyes are green, so I wanted those to match. Her eyes are green because mine are green, and I figured that was also a nice parallel between her and Alastor, because I wanted to make her a character that he would want to hang out with, while also making her feel like an OC that has qualities in common with me. So I'll get back to her in a bit, but I'm going to move on now to Alastor, because I know that's who most of you are here for. So this is my Alastor redesign, and I very quickly want to say that this particular picture here of his redesign that I did use someone else's fan art to be able to, like, trace over, and that's the reason why I have not posted this picture on Instagram, because I don't want to post it, like, as a photo post, because then people might screenshot it and, like, credit me for it, and I don't want the credit. I just am not as good at, like, proportioning when it comes to drawing as I would like to be, so using a base made it easier. But the next slide is a side-by-side of this picture and the original, and then I also have a picture up close of that artist's signature so that I can give credit where it's due. So that being said, please do not screenshot this or where this appears in the thumbnail, because the outline is not mine. I did not do that. But just to quickly go over the design, I did change the staff. I wanted it to still have the eye on it. I wanted it to still look hellish, but look more like a microphone that you would see in Alastor's time. I have a feeling that even though Viv has said that she's going to leave it up to us to decide in fan art whether or not he has a tail, I think Alastor does have a tail that he is hiding under the train of his coat in the show, which would explain why it flares out that way. So that's why in the suit that I have him in here, it doesn't flare out, because it's one of those type of tuxedos where the tail of the tuxedo is split in two, so his tail is resting between where that split is in order for his tail to be there without causing him discomfort. The antlers are a little bit bigger because I think that they are a little bit too small in the show. Like, you can really barely see them. And the running joke about the ears, like, are they ears or are they pieces of hair? It's funny the first couple times, and then it's like, I would rather them look more like ears. But I didn't want to use white, so I used a gray, because I think the white is a little bit too bright. Like the white on his lapel in the show, for example, I think it's a little bit too bright, considering that big toothy yellow smile is where your eyes are supposed to go. I also saw someone who did their own redesign. I think it was Love's Art and then a number, I think that was their username, that gave him yellow eyes, and I really liked that. And they also gave him the highlights on his eyelids, and I really liked that. And I saw another one where someone gave him a deer nose. So my redesign is kind of an inspiration of a few different other redesigns that I've seen. I kept the monocle because I like it. I made his hair curly, or you could say wavy. And I made his skin a little bit darker because Alastor is half Caucasian, half Creole. And, okay, I'm aware that biracial people come in lots of different shades and lots of different hair textures, and I don't have a problem with the way he looks in the show. It's more of just, I think if you're going to have a biracial character who is white passing, you need to actually tell the audience that this is a non-white character, especially since his voodoo powers that come from his Creole side are like such an important part of his like character. You can't expect the audience to know that those symbols are voodoo symbols, because the average person doesn't know that. And so you can't expect the average viewer to see those and go, oh, he must not be white. Or he must not be completely white. Like, the average viewer's not going to know that. And so for me, it's not that I have a problem with his canon design, it's that I have a problem with the show expecting people to know that this is a biracial character by showing the symbols of his powers alone. I think you need a little bit more explanation than they actually give, and so that's where my problem is. It's not really his design itself, it's the lack of explanation. So that being said, I'm also, for those of you watching this video in the future, this is a redesign that I did shortly after season 1. So maybe season 2 or 3 might actually go into his backstory more and might actually show his parents and show that his mother is Creole. So, you know, That being said, for the lack of, like, context they give for Alastor in the season 1 of the main show, that's why I did this redesign the way that I did, making his skin a little darker and adding some texture to his hair. So next up I want to talk about the suit, because yes, he still has the bow tie. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, Vivian Medrano puts bow ties on like every single male character. Here's the thing. I really like bow ties. I don't really like regular ties. I like bow ties or cravats on male and or masculine characters. And so for me, keeping the bow tie just like made sense for my personal tastes. And the type of suit he's wearing is basically a white tie suit, but where the suit would normally be white, it is red, because that fits his color palette. As well as the blazer, not blazer, the coat part of the suit is lined with red. You can see there at the tail. And I do like the trim around the lapel being a different color. I just don't like that they made it white in the show, because again, I think it draws too much attention to the lapel when it's his face and that big toothy smile that you should be looking at. So I made the outline red. And I also gave him a green ring, the way that I gave my OC a green ring, because his powers present as green as well. And so I think having a tiny bit of green to represent his powers is a nice little touch. So that is my design for him. Now keep in mind, the antlers, getting them to look the way that I want is kind of difficult. So in the sketches, pencil sketches that I'm going to show in a bit, most of them do not have the antlers. It's not because I forgot them, it's just because I decided not to put them there. And also the way that I drew his curls in some of the pencil sketches that I did after this, I drew it a little bit differently, where I had the curl facing downward a little bit and have a tiny curl like resting on his forehead, because I think that that is really cute. So you will see that in just a bit. But quickly, let me show you. So this is side by side, the art that I used to trace this. Because I really want to give credit to the artist. I do not want anyone thinking that I did this completely by myself. I just used the outline of an existing work to help me. This was done a couple weeks ago. In the past week, I have been working on getting my proportions right and being able to draw his face better, so I don't think that I'm going to feel the need to use any sort of outline as a base anymore, because I know that there are some artists that really don't like people doing that, so I don't want to feel the need to do that in order to get the art I make to look decent. And again, as I said, I'm using this in the video and thumbnail, but I'm not posting it anywhere as a picture post, specifically because the base of it is not my own. And I did also change for him to only have 3 fingers like he does in the show, because this artist gave him 4 like a normal person hand. So I did change that. And here is that artist's signature up close, so that you can go look for them and support them. I don't know whether this was off of X, because I don't really use it. I use Instagram, and I didn't get this off of Instagram. I got this off of a Safari search, so I'm so sorry. You'll have to go and find this artist on your own. Coming back to my OC for just a second, I wanted to show one of her outfit variations that she would wear in some of the more spicy parts of Hell, also because I wear a lot of tights and like garters and stuff like that, so it seemed pretty nice to give her the option, as well as to show, similar to how like the imps, like freckles and scars and stuff, show up white. She has some on her shoulder here and on her thigh, because I do have 3 birthmarks in a triangle shape on my thigh as well, so that's another similarity that she has to me. Another OC that I made that I'll show you next is this bot here. You'll remember seeing in episode 2, Valentino had a femme bot that kind of looks like Fizzaroli, and her name was Kitty. So this OC is named Priscilla, for no reason other than I wanted to give her a cute name. And essentially her connection to my OC is that when she was looking for parts to make her staff in the junkyard, she came across Priscilla all broken and damaged, abandoned by the last demon owner that she had, and so my OC asked, like, hey, I might be able to fix you. I don't really know how to fix robots, but I can do my best. Like, do you want a second chance at life, or do you not? Do you want me to just leave you here? You know, have you given up? And Priscilla very much wanted a second chance, so she got fixed up, and my OC essentially adopted her because she died before she could ever have kids, and she was also never sure that she would, since she was ace. So she essentially makes Priscilla into her adopted daughter, and that's one of the reasons why my OC would get along with Alastor, because we know that he's a mama's boy, and so seeing this character, like, being a good mom would be something that he would really admire. So this is a digital coloring for my Alastor redesign that I posted to Instagram. This is one where I did not trace over another artist, and you can see it doesn't quite look as good. My proportions are not as good. And this was a couple weeks ago, before I got a little bit better at drawing his facial expressions. This really doesn't look that great. But I'm showing you this because I wanted to be able to show you the sock garters that he wears. And also what I was talking about here with the train of his coat being split so that the tail can comfortably stick out. And I do like the tatters that his coat has canonically, because I like the idea that he's got this like really well put together look up until the last minute. So it's like he's mostly in control up until the last minute, which makes a lot of sense considering what Husker said about him being on someone's leash. So this is that same sketch, not colored, and the antlers a slightly different shape. I really did try to play around with the antlers to try to get them into a shape that I would like, and was kind of frustrated because I can't really get them to look how I want. I was watching one of the old episodes of Honeycast that had art like this as the thumbnail, and quickly did this sketch of my Alastor redesign in that same position. So you can see what I was saying about slightly changing the way I draw the curls, so they're facing down a little bit. So in terms of references to be able to draw Alastor better, I wanted to share this account that I found, Radio Demon On Air. The art that is posted to this account looks almost like it was done by one of the official, like, artists for the show. It's really amazing. And I love the idea of Al taking a selfie. Like, that's really funny. And the fact that he's, like, distorted to some degree in each photo. And he, like, this same account also posted, like, stories. And with this one here where he's, like, holding the old camera. And then this one where he's looking out on all the carnage from his radio tower. He also has a Q&A section you can see here. So I didn't include the word bubbles. You'll have to go look at that account to see that. I found that this is really great, like, for expression references for Alastor, because in some of these, this is way more, or way less than what I screenshotted. I screenshotted way more than that, and in some of them his head is tipped back a little bit, but for the most part his face is like facing the same way, so I can really study the way that just his eyes and mouth change, as well as a reference for the ears upright and the ears back. But since I draw the hair and ears a little bit differently, that's not too much of a concern, but the face I draw pretty much almost exactly, except for the highlights on the eyelids and the deer nose that I gave him. But these are all really, really great, and the answers that he gives to some of the questions are funny as well, so go look at that account. Also, I wanted to quickly show this, because Vivian Medrano did, in fact, confirm that Alastor has hooves, and that he has this sort of ombre going on with his hands and legs, so it's not actually gloves that he's wearing, although he was wearing gloves in the pilot, but that is not canon anymore. So this is one of the reference pages that I made for myself. There was someone, I wish I had remembered to include them in the video, there is someone who posted a TikTok with photo slides of these references that they created. So I basically copied those, and then I also, from those expression references from that Instagram account I showed, I did a bunch of those, with the changes being the eyelid highlights, the deer nose, and the hair being curly. These are a few more practice sketches. He's holding Cursed Alastor Cat in this one, which is very funny. This one's probably my favorite on the page. So these were mostly sketches I did after, like, pausing at different points on a animatic posted to YouTube and TikTok. I actually included it in one of my TikTok compilations. We have a few more sketches here. What's funny about this is my first time ever drawing Nifty, and I pretty much drew her perfectly, which is really funny. I like this side profile, because I think the bob looks better curly. And I like the way that I draw his ears as well, because they actually look like ears. So these are a few more drawings that I did of him looking at other pieces of fan art from other artists, but freehanding instead of, like, tracing over digitally. This one I tried to draw him wearing one of Stolas's outfit, the Stolas human disguise outfit, and the expression on Stolas in that photo was very nervous. That's why Al looks nervous here. We got a few more. He looks very concerned here. Oh yeah, and this one of my OC showing off her powers to him. I did look at Charlie as a reference in order to get those two curls correct for her. And also, I forgot to mention how her dragon powers work. So essentially, similar to Al having a shadow that is, like, semi-sentient apart from him, my OC has a shadow that is, like, different from her, like semi-sentient, except instead of taking the shape of her outline the way that Alastor's shadow mimics his outline, her shadow is a dragon, a full-on dragon. And her full demon form essentially happens when her shadow dragon blends with her, almost like a Steven Universe fusion, and when her shadow blends with her, she turns into a giant dragon. and can breathe the greenish fire that we've seen in the show, the fire that is able to hurt demons unlike regular fire on Earth. And my headcanon for her discovering this power is that she would meet the demon that used to own Priscilla, and they would be like, hey, that was my property, you can't have her. And that my OC's answer to that would be, if you want to take her, you're going to have to fucking kill me. And then that's when her shadow would kind of blend with her, and she would become her full demon form for the first time. So that was fun to think up. So this is a slightly earlier version of the design that I wanted to show. I at first liked the idea of her nails being like a black to red ombre, but I realized in practice drawing that is a little bit too hard, so I just made the nails pink. I had the horns a different shape at first, but that made them a little bit more complicated to draw. And the hair, the way that I drew her hairstyle, I didn't quite like that much at first, so I did end up changing that later. And these are some sketches of her that I did back when I was using that earlier design. And then this is the latest sketch I did just today that shows how I've improved her, the way that I draw her curls, the way that I draw her eyes, her horns. So yeah, I think I've gotten her look the way that I want it, so I don't really see myself making any further changes. I have not come up with the way I want her full demon dragon form to look yet, so that's something I gotta workshop. I do know that the size of her horns and size of her wings and length of her tail are probably going to be inconsistent when it comes to different works that I'll make depicting her, but I am satisfied with how she looks, and I am satisfied with how my Alastor redesign looks. I'm satisfied with Priscilla. I did start thinking up a male OC named Atlas, who is a fox, but I'm not totally happy with his design yet, so that's why I'm not showing him just yet. That is it. So I really want to thank you for watching this. I know that out of the Hazbin Hotel videos that I've done, the TikToks are the most popular by far. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And in terms of the Hazbin Hotel content, I probably will, like, sometime in the next month, slowly phase out making Hazbin content. That is until we get closer to season 2, just because I'm really grateful for how well the Hazbin content has done on my channel, but I also need to still be focused on the other content, because the Hazbin content, for the most part, are TikTok compilations that, if my channel was currently monetized, I would not be able to monetize those videos. So in order to still be working on the content that is actually going to be monetized once I get approved, I need to make sure those other videos have as much of my attention. And I've been making a lot of content lately, like even more than I was making in February, where I was posting every day. To the point that, like, I'm a little bit exhausted, not mentally, but physically. Like, my right eyelid has been twitching a lot the past couple days, so I think that's my body's way of saying I need to rest. So I am still going to be making some Hazbin content, but I don't think I'm going to be making nearly as much as I have that I posted this weekend and the weekend before. But I will still be making some, and when it comes time for season 2 to come out, I will start making more again. So thank you to my subscribers, thank you to everyone that watched this video. If you would like to, oh god, I feel like I'm losing my voice. If you would like to use my Alastor redesign in your own art, by all means do that. Just credit me if you do. My Instagram username is just my name, the way that it is spelt here on YouTube, Verena, and then _J. Or you could also just link to this YouTube video or say that the redesign is from this YouTuber and then just write my name. So if you want to use my Alastor design, by all means. If you would like to use my my OC here, either of my OCs, same thing goes, just credit me. But when it comes to my OCs, please don't use them in any not safe for work content, please. Or if you do, don't tag me in that. So I am going to end the video now because my throat is starting to hurt. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.